I told him he was a failure as a husband and father. That was just the beginning. I'm standing in the middle of our living room, hands on my hips, surrounded by the aftermath of what should have been a perfect birthday party for our 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Wrapping paper is scattered across the floor. Half-empty cups of juice sit abandoned on the coffee table. And in the corner, my husband Daniel is quietly picking up discarded paper plates. Can you believe none of the Thompsons showed up? I say, kicking aside a deflated balloon. After I went to both their kids' parties last month, Daniel doesn't look up. Megan texted that Tyler had a fever. I told you earlier. I roll my eyes. Whatever. The party was a disaster anyway. I glance over at him methodically cleaning, and something in me snaps. Maybe it's the 3 glasses of wine I've had, or the weeks of bottled up frustration about my stalled career, or just the sight of him being so passive. You know what? This is your fault, I say, my voice rising. If you'd bothered to follow up with the parents instead of just assuming everyone would show, maybe we'd have had more than 5 kids here. Lily was embarrassed. He looks up now, his expression carefully neutral. Amber, I sent reminder texts to everyone on the list yesterday. Well, clearly you didn't do a good enough job, I snap. My phone buzzes with a text from my sister asking how the party went. I ignore it. I think, why does he have to be so mediocre at everything? My friends' husbands take charge, plan amazing events, make real money. You know what your problem is? The words are spilling out now, unstoppable. You're failing at this. As a husband, as a father, you're just failing. As soon as I say it, something shifts in the room. Daniel freezes, paper plate in hand, and I see something I've never seen before in his eyes. Not anger, but something worse. Resignation. Lily's upstairs. She might hear you, he says quietly. Don't change the subject, I say, though I lower my voice. I'm just saying what we both know. You promised me a partnership, but I'm carrying everything. Your promotion that never came through, the fact that I had to go back to work early after Lily because your salary isn't enough. Daniel stands up straight, tossing the plates into the garbage bag with more force than necessary. Is that really what you think of me? He asks. I should stop. I know I should stop. But there's a sick thrill in finally saying it all out loud. Yes, I say. I think you've settled for mediocrity in every aspect of your life, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise. He nods slowly, his jaw tight. Without saying another word, he ties the garbage bag and walks past me to the kitchen. I hear the back door open and close as he takes the trash out. I stand there in the mess of the living room, my anger already beginning to fade, replaced by a creeping unease. I think, maybe I went too far. But he needed to hear it. Someone had to say it. I grab my phone and text my best friend Vanessa. Had a fight with Daniel. Might have crossed a line. Her response comes immediately. What happened? Told him he's failing as a husband and father, I type, then hesitate before pressing send. Reading the words makes them sound worse than they felt in the moment. Vanessa's reply makes my stomach drop. Wow, that's brutal, Amber. Is that really how you feel? I don't respond. Instead, I pour myself another glass of wine and wait for Daniel to come back inside. 10 minutes pass, then 20. I go to the kitchen window and see his car is gone from the driveway. I think, he'll be back. He always comes back. He just needs to cool off. The next morning, I'm standing in our kitchen, clutching a mug of coffee as sunlight streams through the window. My head throbs from too much wine, and Daniel's side of the bed remained empty all night. I pick up my phone for the 100th time. No messages. I've texted him 3 times. Where are you? Followed by, come home so we can talk. And finally, this is ridiculous, Daniel. Lily wanders into the kitchen in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. Where's Daddy? He always makes pancakes on Sunday. I force a smile. Daddy had to go help Uncle Steve with something. He'll be back later. The lie comes easily, but there's a knot in my stomach. But he always tells me when he's going somewhere, Lily says, her lower lip trembling. I think, great, now I'm the bad guy because he stormed off without saying goodbye. Tell you what, I say, opening the refrigerator. I'll make pancakes today. An hour later, the kitchen is a mess, the pancakes are burned, and Lily has retreated to her room after declaring my cooking not like Daddy's. I sit at the counter, scrolling through my phone, alternating between checking for messages from Daniel and browsing social media to distract myself. A text from Vansa pops up. How are things this morning? Did you guys work it out? I call her instead of texting back. When she answers, I can hear the judgment in her voice before she even speaks. So, he didn't come home last night, I say. Jesus, Amber, what exactly did you say to him? I pace around the kitchen. I was upset about the party. I may have told him he's failing at everything, as a husband, father, provider. There's a long silence on the other end. That's really harsh, Vanessa finally says. And not true from what I've seen. Daniel is a good guy. You don't live with him, I say defensively. You don't see how passive he is about everything, how he never pushes for more. More what? The man adores you and Lily. Not everyone needs to be a CEO to be a success. I think she's taking his side? Seriously? I assumed you'd understand, I say coldly. I understand you're unhappy about something, but taking it out on Daniel isn't fair. He's one of the most involved dads I know. Remember when he took time off work when Lily had pneumonia last year so you could finish your big project? My free hand clenches into a fist. Look, I need to go. Lily needs lunch. I hang up before she can respond and toss my phone onto the counter. Why doesn't anyone understand? At that moment, my phone buzzes with a text from Daniel. I'll be by around 3 to see Lily. I'm staying at Steve's for now. I stare at the message, my heart racing. This isn't how this was supposed to play out. He was supposed to come home with flowers, apologize for not being more ambitious, promise to do better. Not this. I'm sitting on our front porch steps at 3:05 p.m., watching Daniel's car pull into the driveway. He looks different somehow. His shoulders straighter, his expression calm but distant as he walks toward me. He's wearing clothes I don't recognize. A new blue button-down shirt that actually fits him well. I think, he went shopping? In the middle of this? Hey, he says, stopping at the bottom of the steps, maintaining distance between us. Where have you been? I ask, trying to keep my voice level. You can't just disappear overnight without telling me. I texted Steve last night to let him know I was coming. I asked him to let you know if you called looking for me. I feel a flush of embarrassment. I hadn't called Steve. I'd assumed Daniel would slink back on his own. Lily's inside, I say, nodding toward the door. She missed you at breakfast. A flash of pain crosses his face. I'll make it up to her. As he moves to walk past me, I reach for his arm. Daniel, can we talk about last night? I'd had a lot to drink, and I said things I didn't mean. He looks down at my hand on his arm, then back at my face. Did you, though? Not mean them? I open my mouth, then close it again. The truth is, I'm not sure. Part of me did mean it, the part that's always been frustrated by his contentment with our comfortable but unexceptional life. I was upset about the party, I say finally. The party was fine, Amber. Lily had a great time until you started getting worked up about who didn't show. He gently removes my hand from his arm. I need to see our daughter. I watch him walk into the house, hearing Lily's squeal of delight when she sees him. I remain on the porch, a hollow feeling spreading in my chest. I think, this will blow over. He can't stay mad forever. Inside, I can hear Daniel and Lily laughing. I step into the living room to find them sitting on the floor together, looking through her new birthday presents. The easy affection between them makes me feel like an outsider in my own home. Daddy, can you stay for dinner? Lily asks. Daniel glances up at me, then back to Lily. Not tonight, sweetie, but how about I take you to the park for a while? Without Mom? She asks, looking confused. Mom needs to rest, he says smoothly. She worked hard on your party yesterday. I stand frozen in the doorway as they gather Lily's jacket and head out. Daniel passes me with a polite nod, as if I'm an acquaintance rather than his wife of 9 years. As the door closes behind them, I sink onto the couch, my mind racing. This isn't like Daniel. He doesn't do conflict. He accommodates. He forgives. He moves on. This cold, distant version of him is unfamiliar and frightening. I pick up my phone and text my sister, Kate. Daniel moved out, at least temporarily. Her response is immediate. What? What happened? I stare at the screen, unsure how to explain without sounding like the villain. We had a fight. I said some things. What things exactly? I hesitate, then type. I told him he's failing as a husband and father. The 3 dots appear and disappear several times before her response comes through. Oh, Amber, why would you say that? 2 weeks later, I'm sitting at my desk at work, staring blankly at my computer screen. The separation has become real. Daniel is still at Steve's, coming by the house only to see Lily or pick her up for outings. Our conversations are limited to logistics about our daughter, and he deflects any attempt I make to discuss our relationship. My coworker Jen leans over the partition between our desks. "You okay? You've been staring at that same spreadsheet for 20 minutes." I force a smile. "Just tired. Lily had a nightmare last night." What I don't say is how much harder everything is without Daniel there. The morning routine, bedtime, cooking meals that Lily will actually eat. How empty the house feels when Lily is with him. "How's everything going with?" Jen asks carefully. I'd told her the basics of the situation last week. I sigh. "He's being stubborn, still won't really talk to me about it." "Have you tried apologizing? Like really apologizing?" I feel a flash of irritation. "Of course I have." He's not interested. What I don't tell her is that my apologies have all come with qualifiers. "I'm sorry, but you know I was stressed." Or "I shouldn't have said that, but you have to admit you could be more ambitious." My phone buzzes with a text from Vanessa. "Ran into Daniel at Westfield Mall. He looks good. Got a haircut." I stare at the message, my stomach churning. A haircut? In the 9 years we've been married, I've had to practically drag him to the barber. I text back, "You stopped to chat with him?" "Of course. He's still my friend too. He seemed good, Amber. Different somehow." I think, what does that mean, different? And why is she telling me this? Later that day, I'm standing in our kitchen unpacking a grocery delivery when my phone rings. It's Kate. "Hey," I answer, wedging the phone between my ear and shoulder as I put milk in the refrigerator. "So I had lunch with Daniel today," she says without preamble. I freeze. "You what?" "He called and asked if I had time to meet. I thought you knew." "Why would he call you?" "My sister and Daniel have always gotten along, but they've never had the kind of relationship where they meet for lunch without me. He wanted to talk about Lily, make sure she's doing okay with the back and forth. And I think he wanted to explain his side of things." I abandon the groceries and grip the phone tighter. "His side? What does that mean? What did he say about me?" "Not much, actually," Kate says, her voice careful. "That's what was weird. He didn't badmouth you at all. Just said that what happened made him realize some things about himself, and he's making changes." "What changes?" I demand. "For one thing, he's interviewing for a new job, something with more responsibility." I sink into a kitchen chair, stunned. "He didn't tell me that." "Why would he?" "Amber, you basically told the man he's a failure at life. You think he's going to share his new plans with you?" There's an edge to Kate's voice I rarely hear. "I didn't mean it that way," I say weakly. "How else could he take it?" Kate sighs. "Look, he seems, I don't know how to describe it, more confident, like he's finally prioritizing himself for once." After we hang up, I sit at the kitchen table, surrounded by half-unpacked groceries, a cold feeling spreading through me. Daniel is changing, moving forward, without me. The realization hits like a physical blow. I think, this isn't how it's supposed to be. He's supposed to be fighting for us, not reinventing himself. Later that evening, I'm standing in Lily's doorway, watching Daniel read her a bedtime story. He's come by to tuck her in, as he does several nights a week now. In the soft lamplight, I notice what Vanessa mentioned. His hair is indeed shorter, more stylish, and he's wearing a new sweater I've never seen before. As he finishes the story, he kisses Lily's forehead. "Sweet dreams, Pumpkin." "When are you coming home, Daddy?" she asks sleepily. Daniel's eyes flicker to me in the doorway, then back to Lily. "We'll talk about that soon. But you know I love you, right? That never changes." "I know," she says, eyes already closing. He turns off her lamp and moves toward the door. I step back to let him pass, catching a whiff of unfamiliar cologne. "New scent?" I ask as we walk down the hall. "Steve gave it to me," he says with a small shrug. "How's work going?" This neutral, polite version of Daniel is maddening. "Fine," I say. "Kate mentioned you're interviewing." Something flashes in his eyes. Surprise, maybe irritation. "Yes, a management position at Carlson Technologies." "That's ambitious," I say, unable to keep a hint of sarcasm from my voice. He stops at the front door, turning to face me fully. "Isn't that what you wanted, for me to be more ambitious?" "I wanted us to talk about it together," I say, "to make decisions as a couple." Daniel's laugh is short and without humor. That's not what you said that night, Amber. You made it pretty clear what you thought of me and my choices. I was drunk and angry. And honest, he says quietly. Sometimes the truth comes out when we're upset. I've been thinking a lot about that night, and you know what? You were right about one thing. I wasn't living up to my potential. Not because I couldn't, but because I was so focused on making you happy that I lost sight of myself. I stare at him, speechless. I should thank you in a way, he continues. It was the wake-up call I needed. So that's it? I ask, my voice rising. One fight and 9 years of marriage is over? It wasn't just one fight, Amber. It was the culmination of years of subtle put-downs, of you making it clear I wasn't quite enough. I just finally heard you clearly. He opens the front door. I'll pick Lily up Friday after school for our weekend. As the door closes behind him, I stand in the entryway, shaking. For the first time, it hits me that I might have broken something that can't be fixed. 6 weeks after our fight, I'm sitting in my car outside the restaurant where we're meeting to discuss next steps, as Daniel put it in his text. Through the window, I can see him already at a table, scrolling through his phone. I think, this can't be happening. We're not divorced people. We're supposed to grow old together, bicker about grandchildren, retire to a beach somewhere. My hands tremble slightly as I check my makeup in the rearview mirror. I've taken extra care today. Hair freshly highlighted, new dress, the perfume he gave me for our anniversary last year. Inside, the hostess leads me to the table. Daniel stands as I approach, a reflexive politeness that makes my heart ache. You look nice, he says as we sit down. Thanks, I reply, studying his face. He looks better than nice. He looks rested, fit, at ease in a way I haven't seen in years. You do too. A waiter appears to take our drink orders. Daniel asks for sparkling water. I request a glass of white wine, then change it to water when I see his expression. So, he says after the waiter leaves, I thought we should talk about how to move forward. Are you filing for divorce? I ask bluntly, my voice catching. He looks surprised. I haven't made any legal decisions yet. I wanted to talk to you first. Relief washes over me. Daniel, I know I can't take back what I said, but I've had a lot of time to think. I was wrong. So wrong. You're an amazing father and a good husband. I was just, I don't know, restless, dissatisfied with my own life, and I took it out on you. He listens quietly, his expression unreadable. When I finish, he takes a sip of his water. I appreciate that, he says finally, and I believe you mean it, but something broke for me that night, Amber. It was like seeing our entire relationship clearly for the first time. What do you mean? I realized I've spent our marriage trying to be what I thought you wanted, and still falling short. Now that I've had some space, I can see how unhealthy that was. He pauses as the waiter brings our waters. I'm not angry anymore, but I'm not sure I can go back to that dynamic. It wouldn't be the same, I say quickly. I've changed. I see things differently now. He studies my face. Maybe, but I've changed too. I like who I'm becoming without the constant feeling that I'm disappointing you. I feel tears stinging my eyes. So that's it? You're happier without me? I didn't say that, he says gently. I said I'm discovering who I am without defining myself through your expectations. That needed to happen, with or without this separation. Our conversation is interrupted as people at a nearby table burst into laughter. The contrast between their joy and our careful, painful exchange makes my chest ache. What about Lily? I ask. She misses you so much. I miss her too, every day. But kids are resilient, and she seems to be adjusting to the new routine. He leans forward. I've been looking at apartments near her school, 3 bedrooms, so she'll have her own space with me. The finality of that statement hits me like a physical blow. You're really doing this. He nods slowly. I think we need the separation, Amber. Maybe permanently, maybe not. I honestly don't know yet. And there's nothing I can say to change your mind? My voice is barely a whisper. It's not about saying the right words now. It's about the fact that those words the night of Lily's party could come out at all. He reaches across the table and briefly touches my hand. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm trying to figure out what's best for both of us, and for Lily. We order food, though neither of us eats much. The conversation shifts to logistics, schedules for Lily, how to handle upcoming school events, what to tell friends and family. Throughout it all, Daniel is calm, organized, decisive, displaying exactly the qualities I once accused him of lacking. As we walk to our cars after dinner, I take a chance and reach for his hand. Do you think, is there any hope for us? He doesn't pull away, but his grip is loose, non-committal. I don't know, Amber. Maybe, but not right now. Right now, I need space to figure out who I am outside of us. I nod, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. As we reach my car, he gives my hand a gentle squeeze before letting go. Take care of yourself, he says. I'll see you at Lily's soccer game on Saturday. I watch him walk to his car, his posture straight, steps confident. Only when he's driven away do I allow myself to break down, sobbing in my car in the restaurant parking lot. I think I've lost him. I've really lost him. 3 months after our separation became official, I'm standing in the kitchen of my new apartment, smaller than our house, but close enough to Lily's school that the transition between homes isn't too disruptive for her. Daniel kept the house, another surprise. The man who I once thought lacked initiative managed the refinancing, bought out my share, and is now effortlessly maintaining the home we struggled with together. My phone buzzes with a text from Kate. How was the parent-teacher conference? Sorry I couldn't watch Lily. Fine, I type back. Daniel was there too. We're getting better at the co-parenting thing. What I don't tell her is how seeing Daniel in these settings, poised, engaged, asking thoughtful questions about Lily's education, makes me realize how much I underestimated him. How the qualities I once mistook for passivity were actually patience and steadiness. How much I miss those qualities now. As I'm making dinner, boxed macaroni and cheese that Lily will tolerate on the nights she's with me, there's a knock at the door. I open it to find Vanessa, holding a bottle of wine and a sympathetic smile. Thought you could use some company, she says, stepping inside. Lily's with Daniel tonight, right? I nod, grateful for the distraction. Just me and boxed pasta, glamorous life of a newly single mom. Vanessa pours us each a glass of wine while I finish cooking. We settle on the couch, and for a while, we talk about safe topics, work, her kids, a movie we both want to see. Finally, she asks the question I've been dreading. How are you really doing, Amber? I stare into my wine glass. Honestly, I feel like I'm in some bizarre alternate universe. Daniel is thriving. New job with a big raise, getting involved in Lily's school, even dating, apparently. Dating? Vanessa looks surprised. How do you know? Lily mentioned a friend named Megan who came along on their museum trip last weekend. I try to keep the bitterness from my voice. Meanwhile, I'm just stuck, trying to figure out how I blew up my life with one stupid drunken rant. Vanessa sips her wine thoughtfully. Do you think it was really just that one night, though? What do you mean? I mean, look, you're my best friend and I love you, but even I could see how you talk to Daniel sometimes, like he was always falling short somehow. I feel a flush of defensive anger, then shame, because I know she's right. I didn't realize how it looked to other people, I say quietly, or how it felt to him, apparently. Vanessa adds gently. Have you thought about talking to someone, like a therapist? I laugh without humor. What would I say? Hi, I emotionally berated my husband until he found his backbone and left me. Maybe more like, I need to understand why I treated someone I loved that way, so I don't repeat the pattern. Her words hang in the air between us. For the first time, I consider that my issues with Daniel might have been more about me than about him. I miss him, I whisper, the admission painful but necessary. Not just having someone to help with Lily or the house. I miss him, his calm, his kindness, the way he could make me laugh when I was spiraling. Vanessa reaches over and squeezes my hand. Have you told him that? I shake my head. What's the point? He's moved on, found his best self without me. Maybe, she says. Or maybe he's still figuring things out too. After Vanessa leaves, I stand at my kitchen window, looking out at the unfamiliar neighborhood that still doesn't feel like home. I think about Daniel and Lily together tonight, perhaps with this Megan person, forming a new kind of family that doesn't include me. I think this was never what I wanted. I just wanted him to be more. And now he is, but not for me. 6 months to the day after I told Daniel he was a failure, I'm sitting on a bench at the park, watching Lily play with friends from her soccer team. Daniel sits beside me, a careful distance between us. She's getting better, he comments as Lily successfully dribbles around another child. Your coaching is paying off, I say. She talks about it all week when she's with me. He smiles, that genuine warm smile that used to be reserved just for Lily and me. Now it feels like a gift when directed my way. We sit in companionable silence for a while. These moments have become less awkward over time as we've settled into our new reality. How's the new project at work going? He asks. He still remembers the details of my job, still cares enough to ask. Good, challenging, but in a good way. How about the new position? Still enjoying it? Very much, he says. Actually, I got offered another promotion last week. I look at him, surprised. Already? That's impressive. Thanks. He hesitates. There's something else I wanted to tell you, actually. I thought you should hear it from me. My stomach tightens. You're moving? No, nothing like that. He turns slightly to face me. I've been seeing someone. It's getting more serious, and Lily's met her a few times now. I wanted you to know before Lily says something. Even though I suspected, hearing him confirm it sends a cold wave through me. Megan from the museum? He looks surprised, then nods. Yes, she's a curriculum developer at Lily's school. Is it serious? I ask, struggling to keep my voice neutral. We're taking it slow, but yes, I care about her. His eyes are kind but direct. I wanted to be upfront with you. I nod, not trusting myself to speak. Are you seeing anyone? He asks after a moment. No, I say simply. The truth is, I haven't even considered dating. Every time I think about it, I'm confronted with the realization that what I really want is the chance to do it all over with Daniel, but differently. He seems about to say something else when Lily runs over, red-faced and smiling. Did you see my goal, Mom? Dad taught me that move. I saw, sweetie. It was amazing, I say, forcing enthusiasm I don't feel. As Lily chatters about the game, I watch Daniel with her, patient, attentive, encouraging. Everything a father should be, everything he always was, though I failed to see it clearly. Later, as we walk Lily to my car, Daniel touches my arm lightly. Are you okay? About what I told you? I consider lying, then decide against it. No, not really, but I will be. I have to be. He studies my face. Amber, I want you to know something. Despite how things ended, I don't regret our marriage. We have Lily, and I learned a lot about myself, some of it painful, but necessary. I was wrong, I say suddenly. What I said that night, it wasn't true. You were never a failure. I was just, I don't know, looking for someone to blame for my own unhappiness. He nods slowly. I know that now, and for what it's worth, I think you're a good mother and a good person who said a terrible thing. Not good enough, apparently, I say with a sad smile. That's not true. We just brought out difficult things in each other, I think. Maybe we always would have. As we reach my car, Lily runs ahead to press her face against the window, looking for the toy she left in the back seat. Daniel lowers his voice. I hope you find someone who appreciates you for exactly who you are. You deserve that. The irony of his words isn't lost on me. That's exactly what I failed to give him. You too, I managed to say. Megan seems nice. He smiles slightly. She is. Different from you, but nice. We say our goodbyes, and as I drive away with Lily chattering beside me, I glance in the rearview mirror. Daniel stands watching us leave, a solitary figure growing smaller in the distance. I think this is the consequence of that moment, this permanent loss, this alternate life neither of us planned for. In the quiet of my apartment that night, after Lily is asleep, I sit at my small kitchen table with a cup of tea and the divorce papers Daniel's lawyer sent over last week. The finality of signing them terrifies me, but I know it's time. As I pick up the pen, I remember something my mother told me after her own divorce. The hardest lessons are the ones we teach ourselves. 6 months ago, in a moment of selfish cruelty, I told my husband he was a failure. In doing so, I inadvertently pushed him to become the man I claimed to want. Confident, ambitious, decisive, and in the process, I lost him forever. I signed my name on the dotted line, accepting the ending I created and the beginning I never wanted.